Now here we are, 9 o'clock p.m., and match is still going on. However, that's not going to affect many of these competitors because a lot of these guys are really strong and really out to go home with some hardware.
So it is the bronze medal match for the men in the recurve, and it's going to pit Joe Fanchin against Markiyan Ivashko from the Ukraine. And there you can see some of the American fans getting set to cheer on Joe Fanchin. Joe lost to his fellow countryman, Brady Ellison, in the semifinal match. Of course, he and Brady teamed up just a little while ago to win a gold medal in the team competition. Joe Fanchin, 33rd at last month's World Championship in Torino. Did finish 9th in the second stage of the World Cup in Turkey, and there's a good look at his competition tonight, Ivashko, who lost to his fellow countryman, Dmitro Rachov, in the semifinal matchup. Ivashko, 17th.
He also beat a Canadian archer named Crispin Duenas.
Oh, that's what you were pointing at. Okay. I was actually going to not mention that, but
it's okay. Markiyan
you're a good
Ivashko,
sport.
Yeah, no, he's a very, very good shooter. He's been a very strong shooter for a really long time, and it's good to see him starting to win some medals here. Glad I could play a part in his success.
We need to see you out here.
I was out here last year.
I know, but next year.
Exactly.
Next year. Will you be heading to Shanghai?
I will not be heading to Shanghai. I've got way too much traveling going on, and I need some rest. Spend some time in my own bed.
I don't blame you.
So Joe Fanchin shooting first.
You folks do travel the world, don't you?
We do, a lot.
Fanchin's first shot is a 9, it appears.
Just off to the left. Now it'll be interesting to see if a lot of the archers' first arrows or first sets are situated off to the left. That's generally what happens in low light conditions, especially to recurve archers like what we see right now. Well, not him.
Lighting's not bothering Ivashko, at least not on his first shot. He takes a 1-point lead. Ball is back in Joe Fanchin's court, so to speak, and he comes up with a 9.
Off to the left. Another 10.
Apparently the coaching paid off. You could hear his coach in the background.
Well, what his coach is doing there is counting down the time to make sure that Markiyan or Mr. Ivashko shoots in the proper allotted amount of time. You don't want to shoot after that whistle goes off to signify that your 20 seconds is up.
Joe
3 seconds
needs a 10.
left, and that's a 10.
Got to have a 10 right there to have a chance.
So anything in the gold for Mr. Ivashko will win this set.
Anything less, and they may be splitting it.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
3 10s.
There's
10,
a
10,
statement.
10. Sort of a statement like, I'm out here and I'm going to win.
I mean business.
I don't know how to say that in Ukrainian, though.
When you're in that situation and your opponent has done that, how do you not get fazed by that?
Well, you don't get fazed by knowing that this is still set scores, right? What happened in my match against Ivashko, from my personal experiences, he took the first set, so it was 2-0. Then he took the second set, which was 4-0. And then I started shooting a little bit better, and I shot, and I was able to start coming back. So it was 4-2 for Ivashko, and then 4-4. So we were tied up. So you can always keep this optimism in your mind that because this is set system and it's not raw score, that you can always come back. You can even technically miss a whole end, or a whole set, sorry, and come back and win. But
so to quote Jim Carrey, you're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance.
There's a chance.
And that's what Joe Fanchin will be saying to himself right now as he concentrates and performs his shot exactly like he does in practice.
And he's taken this shot 1,000,000 times in practice, hasn't he?
So that might have been a little bit of an overcompensation for Fanchin, but also he could just be getting used to the field of play and used to the conditions. So we'll see what happens, even if Ivashko can shoot more 10s right now. A little bit of a bobble, and there it is. That's a 9.
So both with the 9 to start this second set. Ivashko with the 2-point lead, 2-0. After winning the first set, Joe Fanchin trying to battle back and tie it up at 2 apiece.
And that's a 10 from Fanchin. Very good shot. And Mr. Ivashko needs a 10 just to keep it tied up.
Good, Joe. One more, okay?
And there it is, another 10.
Back and forth we go. Game on. So a great set going right now. We're tied up, both with 19 points, and the third arrow of the second set for Joe Fanchin of Team USA.
And a 9 on the line, so that kind of opens the door up for Ivashko. A 10 will take the set, a 9 will split it.
A worried Joe Fanchin turns away, not to watch. You'll hear the reaction there. Ooh.
But that's an 8, making Joe Fanchin the victor of that set, giving him the 2 set points, and now we're all tied up at 2 set points apiece.
The unpredictability of this sport. You can see some of the Ukrainian archers with a little bit of a worried look after Ivashko misses an opportunity to go up 4-0.
Some archers will get a little bit more relaxed when they see that their competitor has made that mistake, and they know that, you know, if I just shoot this arrow in the gold, then I'll be okay. Some archers might start overthinking that and start trying way too hard to just put it in an area that's bigger than what they're used to hitting. So it's kind of a head game. Well, I shouldn't say that. Archery is totally a head game.
Yeah.
And fitness, although it does play a big role, doesn't play as big of a role as your mental agility and your mental stability in the sport. Joe Fanchin up to the line.
10. 5.
5 seconds left, and that's a little bit of a bad shot. 8 points out to the left
okay.
again.
Joe, make sure win, okay? Make sure aim up.
Did he rush it a little bit, you think? Leaving himself just a little bit of time?
Not really sure. I heard his coach saying to watch the wind, so you can see the flags starting to flap a little bit stronger down there. And that's a 9 from Ivashko. Out to the right, though, so that's not in the direction that the flags are pointed.
On
A
the
9
line.
out to the left again. And the wind is definitely picking up on the field of play, going from right to left. Joe Fanchin getting affected by that just a little bit more than Ivashko, but Ivashko shooting an 8 out to the right.
Just as you say that, yeah.
And so everything is tied up right now after 2 arrows for this set. Fanchin can definitely put some pressure on if he shoots a 10 here.
Anybody's set at this point.
That's
close. Is he on the line?
A 9 or a 10, I can't tell from here.
The crowd seems to think it's a 10.
And the spotters think it's a 10.
Yeah. No, they've changed it to a 9 now.
9 asterisk, so that'll take some closer inspection. And that's a 9. So now things become a little interesting. We have to see what the arrow call is when official scoring takes place.
This could be huge. It could be huge. It could be the difference between splitting the 2 points or Joe Fanchin picking up 2 points and going up 4-2.
Yes. So they'll be intently watching that scoreboard, and any subtle signs that their agent says or gives them from downrange. But as it stands right now, unofficially, they're both tied at 3 set points apiece, and we're going to wait for the official scoring.
So a tense moment here at Lindquist Field as Ivashko and Fanchin wait to find out whether that's a 9 or a 10.
The judge is really taking a close look. And it stands as a 9 officially.
So they split the set, 1 point for each of the competitors, and we're tied at 3.
We are tied at 3.
So you can see why this set system is so popular, what you've been talking about.
It's
Crispin.
really anybody's game at any given moment. So since we are tied, we're going back to the original shooting order with Fanchin shooting first on target number 1. 10
a 10.
points.
Good job, Joe.
Some clutch shooting by Joe Fanchin right there.
And the crowd goes wild.
And Ivashko's going to have to match it.
And that's a 9 just out, a little bit to the left.
Close, but not quite. And Ivashko ponders the situation as Fanchin
10.
Tries to find the center of the target again and does not come close. That's an 8.
That's
an
okay.
8 out to the right, so that's going upwind. And I'm wondering if the wind just died down just enough so that his arrow wasn't pushed over by it to hit the 10. But this is an open door for Ivashko. But he ties it up, 18 points apiece for this set so far.
So it's back and forth here in the fourth set. We were tied at 3 points apiece through the first 3 sets.
And that's 10.
And that's big.
That is a big thing because now Ivashko has to shoot a 10 just to tie. So that puts a little bit of pressure on him. And a 9, so Fanchin takes that set. Now the set score is 5-3 in this race to 6 set points. Now, makes it a little bit interesting because for the next set that comes up, unofficially it's 5-3, I must remind you. Once official scoring's done, then we can confidently say that if Fanchin and Ivashko tie in this next set, Fanchin still wins the match. But if Ivashko wins the next set, they will go into a single arrow tiebreak, which is 1 arrow closest to the center for each archer. But if Joe Fanchin wins this set, then he wins the whole match.
So much like in hockey with the shootout or in World Cup soccer with the shootout, except you only get 1 shot.
You only get 1. It used to be your first shot was for score, and then your second shot was for score again, and then your third shot was closest to the center. But now they've upped the pressure, and now it's just 1 arrow closest to the center. But we'll see what happens now.
And you archers must just love that.
Sometimes it can be a good thing. Ivashko's shooting on target 2. And that's a 10 on the line, but I think it's in. Spotters call it a 9 asterisk just to be safe.
Shot.
That's a definite 10.
No question about it. Joe Fanchin trying to put this match away.
Ten seconds left on the clock for Ivashko. And that's a 9. Outright again. And he's getting a little frustrated now. You can't let that take over your shot.
Joe Fanchin looking very collected, and it shows in his performance.
That's a dead center 10.
Good job, Joe. 1 more, okay?
And
One
again,
more.
you know, we're watching this
One more.
on television. It is not an easy thing, folks. That is 70 meters away, and he's putting it right in the center of the target. And Ivashko comes up with an 8.
Now that's not good for Ivashko because right now Fanchin can shoot, well, an 8.
6 or better.
Yes. Well, depending on what Ivashko's first arrow is called.
True.
And that's an 8. That's a definite victory for Fanchin because if Ivashko's 9 asterisk is even a 10, then it still means a victory for Fanchin. But nonetheless, still a great victory for Fanchin.
Great night for Joe Fanchin, who picks up the bronze medal in the recurve, beating Ivashko from the Ukraine, and another medal for Team USA here at Lindquist Field in Ogden, Utah. And yes, I'll stop and pose for pictures, yes.
It's got to be great for the sponsors and the catalogs, but still to hoist your bow up and say, you know, I'm right now 3rd best in the world, it's just a great feeling.
And he picks up a lot of points that help him hopefully get to the World Cup final in Istanbul.
Exactly. So each archer will be gaining a certain amount of World Cup ranking points depending on their placing and on their finish spot when they finish here today on the field. So provided you pick up enough points, the top 8 archers in each category will get a chance to play on the big field in the coveted 5th stage, final stage of the World Cup. And that only is, it's open up to a select number of archers.
It's a very select few who will get to go to Istanbul and compete, not just for the medals, but also for the money.
Exactly.
Which always helps.
Money's always a good little incentive, but
it doesn't hurt.
It doesn't.